Volkswagen in German. Volks mean people's car. They had created that long ago anyway, before even around the war period with Ferdinand Porsche. And because of this, at some point, he had that car had gotten into the American market and was doing well. And Germany had revolutionized its economy despite losing a lot during the war because it did something. It went back to productivity. What you need is productivity. What Nigeria needs is productivity. It does not need the shenanigans of politicians like what happened in Rivers State over the weekend. All sorts of side to the story, and all they are concerned about is sharing state resource. If Nigeria has over 40 companies or 200 companies that are worth over $20 billion, you will have a massive level of productivity and it employs a lot of people. Back in the days, we had a large number of those productive capacities, but we lost all of them. At some point, we had Michelin, Dunlop producing tires in this country. Even back in the days, we had Odutola tires. But the truth is, all of these productive companies just went down the drain. So rather than political bickering, all we need is a productive capacity. It's because we are not productive in capacity. That's why we can't collect a lot of taxes. Government bureaucracy has destroyed businesses rather than allow businesses grow. When you allow businesses grow and thrive, it will increase the pot of productivity. I see most people that are doing political spokesperson is because a lot of them are jobless. There are no companies for them. The urban migration, everybody wants to be in Lagos, is because there are no production centers in other parts of the world. I knew a friend of mine that told me that in the 40s, 50s, his father lived in Jos and he made a good living by being a lawyer because there was a thriving teen industry. So we need productive capacity, just like Germany did. Germany did not depend on the raw materials beneath its ground. It depended on the work of its workforce. When you check other countries of the world, they dependent on the work of their workforce. Look at Italy. Italy also had the likes of Fabrica Italia Automobile Turin, which is Fiat. They produce and capacity starts to grow. So rather than the higgledy-piggledy of the political class, what we should start thinking of is increasing the productive capacity. But you see, why am I here? Productive capacity will not shift except the mindset of individuals starts to shift. If we still have a pervasive mentality that it is through politicking we can get everything done, then we are not going to have a country. There's a lot more we can do as regards productive capacity. There's a lot more we can open up in opportunities. But the problem is we are not even seeing our opportunities. It is foreigners that is still now coming to take our opportunities away and employ Nigerians to work for them. That's why you're having all sorts of illegal mining going on. So we need an introspection. And all of this introspection cannot come without education. Education comes from the Greek word edukos, which means to bring inner giftings out. I mean, my brother from Peak High School is just talking about the Montessori model. That's exactly what we are saying. Education should be able to look and say, you have a talent within. Why can't we bring it out to show forth to the world? There's a young man that makes cars in Jos, Jerry. Why can't we give Jerry funds to make speed racing cars and look for an ecosystem and a market to sell? So when you look for the productive capacity, then you can use it to grow an economic base. But currently, we are failing in that. We are majoring in minor. And that's why we call ourselves the giant of Africa. But our budget is about the size of, any other, maybe like Kenya, thereabout. Because we actually need to be doing more. Because of bad leadership, our GDP was about 500 billion in 2012, 2013 when we rebased. Today, we have we have we have reduced on things just about 200 billion. We'll see the figures when the rebasing come. Even the guys like Innocent and Nord that I promote a lot, and that's why I drive an Innocent, that I promote a lot. And very soon I'll be driving a Nord too. Those guys, they can still do more in capacity if we support them. When you go and check my shows, I've so much supported productive capacity. There's a guy, Toby. I brought him in the early days of Arise on TV. I brought him many times on my former radio station. He's an innovator. He can fabricate any machine. We gave him a couple of jobs, but we also need more productive capacity because that's the way to build a nation. If you are busy with production, all of this higgledy-piggledy will not continue. Politicians that have never owned a factory in their life, that are unproductive, that are dead as dodo, are the ones now causing a lot of noise. We're bigger than that. That's why we should respond to the inner workings and the inner capacity for development. But the problem is, a lot of the mindset I see with Nigerians are not ready for the height of development I want. A lot of them are still stuck. A lot of them are still poor mentally. The reason why Nigerians have not succeeded is the poverty of the mind. And how do you see the poverty of the mind? See how they talk. They're talking of building empires of the future. A lot of them are busy roaming around politicians that have destroyed their lives. They're talking about empires of the future. They're talking about creation, creating things. They are so interested in abuse. You can't build a nation that way. That's why I built a library. I'm empowering via the radio every Sunday. Impact with Rufai. We're opening opportunities, giving you a chance to talk on radio, get us a job. Opening opportunities for people, but some people's mindsets are still backward. Nigeria can be a $5-10 trillion economy. It's possible. But it's not going to be that with the mindset of these people. So we need to open up. Because, see, the mindset of a lot of people are still very low. If you don't believe it's possible, then it will never be possible. I remember when I said I'd set out to build a library and a healthcare center and a health outreach center. A lot of people say you're stupid. I said, it's possible. And we started work at it. Did we have all the resources? No. I remember at the start of the year when I said, we want to train more people in AI. And we got over 2,000 people to register. Did we have the resource? No. There's somebody that reached out to me yesterday, said he wanted to give free cybersecurity training. I said, okay, you can bring it on. It's possible. But your mindset has to change. It has to shift. Because a lot of Nigerians, their mindset is still tuned to the same thieving politician. Among most of your political class, how many of them has created value? Except for few of them. How many of them have businesses that are impacting people? So the mindset has got to change. The mindset is still shallow. The mindset is still shallow. I'm thinking of mentoring and building the next $1 billion business. Some people are busy thinking APC and PDP. Really? Political class that has constantly failed? Thinking of ideas to fly. I want us to build productivity and success to a level that government will be forced to join. But mindset is shallow. But people are building. That's why I support them. That's why I support Nord, Toby. Toby was less than 30 when he started to build a car company. He makes cars. Toby is not up to 40 years of age. While some of you at the age of 47, you are busy begging for subscription of data. And when you get the data, what do you use to do? You use to abuse people. You're foolish. Think of what you can build. I'm not saying everybody will build a car like Toby, but there's an impact you can make in your locality. There's an impact you can make in your locality. And it is until you make that impact that we can collectively coalesce and bring together forces for that impact. Then we'll become something. Then we'll become something. So please, that's why I keep giving these opportunities. I've always done it. That's why I call it impact. Because that's what God wants us to do. God didn't build any of us to be stupid. Poverty is an aberration in God's template for humanity. Poverty means lack of opportunities, passing over opportunities regularly. So the reason why you are poor is because you are mentally poor. But if we open up and we bring possibilities the way of people, there's so much we can create. There's so much we can create. Facebook, created American. Instagram, America. TikTok, Chinese. Where is Nigeria's global app to the world? Where? Where? Where is Nigeria's global app to the world? I am not happy that as a Nigerian, I have to talk to you because of the ingenuity of somebody in China, because of the ingenuity of somebody in America. At least I'm thankful that you have some Nigerians now even making radio transmitter. There's this great man we're trying to partner with out of the East, makes wonderful transmitter. We're still applying for a community radio license for the foundation in Odogbolu. If we get that, we'll also use radio to revolutionize the world. What I want to do is give people in rural communities a chance to be taught media. Use the radio as education. on radio, give opportunities. That's what we want to do. That's what we want to do. That's what we want to do. That's all I've always done. Use radio to transform the lives of millions. For over 20 years, that's all I've always done. That's all I've always done. From my days in Warri GFM radio, the same message. Now, Oseni Center, Odogbolu, Oseni Center Foundation, Oseni Center, this thing, our prison outreach ministry are collaborating with people, libraries that we've invested in parts of Africa, Senegal, and the likes, scholarship schemes and things like that. This is what we want to do. We want to build an army of empowerment. That's what we want to do. Because if we do it and we succeed, we'll inspire others to be able to do great things. That's the kind of mindset. That's the kind of mindset. People need help, we'll give them a chance. Somebody saying, I'm Prince Will Azubike. I've been calling, but your line is busy. I need a job. Hold a Bachelor of Arts degree. 0806-466-2186. I want to change the paradigm of joblessness. There are too many people without a job. Go and check all my books. That's all I've always written about. When I wrote Eureka, was how Nigeria could thrive and grow economically. That was what I wrote about. Eureka is 2015, 2016. In fact, funny enough, this is the shirt I'm wearing. What can we do to succeed together? What can we do to succeed together? That's what we're thinking. Development, opening opportunities, opening horizons, opening mindsets. There's so much to be done. This economy can be broader. There's an innate capacity, but all I see is mediocrity, unmitigated tomfoolery, where we can be developing a lot. There's so much to be done. There's so much to be done, America. There's so much to be done, Nigeria. If we unite, we will be free so long. That was Majekudumi Fashake many years ago. Many years ago. Opportunities, we need to create them. Opportunities. Today I talked about the German model. Next week, probably, I will talk about the Korean model to see how nations develop through their businesses. Then Germany started investing in a couple of businesses called Mittelstand. Mittelstands are middle class, family-owned businesses, just normal businesses. And they grew into what it is today. Today, Germany is a $4 trillion economy. Nigeria can be 10 trillion. We could be even many more trillions. So let us look at it. Look at the possibility. Open our minds. Open our minds. Open our minds. Our minds are still very closed. 0818-099-1991. I put up an interview also with View News. View News is a sister outfit. We're going to put up an interview we had with somebody in the political class. And it's something we must also, look at. Hello, how are you? Great to have you. What's your name?
My name is Sean. Good morning, sir.
Great to have you, Sean. Where are you calling me from?
I'm calling from Abuja.
Good to have you, Sean. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. First of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunity that you given.
God be blessed.
Also in Nigeria, yeah,
God be
to
blessed.
be able to, um, speak or ask for help.
Yeah.
So I'm into elementary school teaching of
Okay.
mathematics. So I'm having a challenge of subscription of my courses on Seller. There's this tool Seller where I can host my courses so that people can buy. So that's the current challenge that I'm facing. That's for the subscription for a year, so that when people subscribe, when the subscription runs out, it's not going to throw them out of the course. Yes.
Okay. All right. So call out your number and how people can help you. Just call out your number.
Okay. 080
Yes.
36
Yeah.
444
Yeah.
719.
Okay. Call it again, Sean.
080
Yes.
36
Yeah.
444.
Speak up. Speak up. Speak up. 244.
Okay. 080
Yeah.
36
Yeah.
444
Okay.
719.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. It is well. Hello. How are you?
Hello, good morning, my big brother.
Morning. How are you? Bless you, sir.
Bless you, sir. Manjem calling from Abuja.
Manjan, how are you? How's the prisoner outreach going on in Abuja?
We give God all the glory.
Yeah.
Successful outreach at Kujeri prison.
Hi, Yasmin. I want to put you on the radio now. Yeah. Go ahead, Manjam. I want to put you on the radio now. Yeah. No. Yeah. Like we make some noise in Nigeria. Yes.
To
Yeah.
the image at Nigerian Correctional Service.
Yeah. Just hold on. 1 minute. Yeah.
So we give God all the glory.
Yeah.
It was successful. We were able to give all the image. Those who applied the challenge and defect, we were able to give them high classes.
Okay. So we gave how many images did we give eyeglasses at the prisons in Abuja?
Yeah, the total lock up, because some of them is none of them that has anything else to do with that defect challenge. And we give about almost 350.
Okay, we gave about 350 eyeglasses, right?
Yes, that's good.
Okay. Okay. At Kuje prison. Okay.
Up to Sulija.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for the good work.
I don't know, my dear brother. The last time I spoke with you about how you're going to get in touch with the city controller, that's Mr. Post.
Yeah.
He wrote about 3 books, and he wrote so many books. So he has interest in partnering with Oseni Rufai Foundation and then supporting your library. So he said,
Okay. Send me. Sorry, I've been so busy. I beg you. We will talk. Send me the number again. I'll try to reach him. We'll talk. I've been very busy. So much work going on. Thank you.
So we are trusting God for every outreach by the grace of God.
Okay. It is well. Thank you. Bless you. So I have Yasmin, are you there? I have this lady that is doing something very interesting. Good. So I have this lady that is doing something very interesting across the African continent. Her name is Yasmin. She's on a journey now. She will be riding a bicycle from Ivory Coast to South Africa.
Yes.
She'll be riding a bicycle from Ivory Coast to South Africa. From Ivory Coast to South Africa. And you know why she's doing it? She's riding it to raise charity awareness and also raise money for charity. And when I met her, I said, we will be on this project together. We will not leave her. We will support her. So Yasmin Diawara, Ivorian citizen,
Yes.
bonjour, but you speak very good English. Great to have you. You are talking to all of our radio audience in Nigeria on Voice of People Radio 90.3 FM. Great to have you, Yasmin. I didn't plan for this. I just had to wake you up this morning. I must put you on radio. How are you, Yasmin?
I love it. I'm good. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, everyone listening to the radio. Thank you so much for having me, Rufai.
Yasmin, please tell me about your story. A lot of people need to be inspired by your story. And why are you riding bike? You know, you came out of poverty, you've gone through a lot in life, but you want to impact and give back.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to speak this morning and have the opportunity to share my story with everyone. So, as you mentioned, I was born from my family was not middle class, social something. I mean, they were regular worker with not very big salaries. And but when I was growing up, I had this thing in me, like this awareness for inequality. But I didn't know, when you are a kid, you don't know poverty. Like you don't have words for it.
Mm.
Like you're living your life, you enjoy stuff, you enjoy your environment. I remember in my you told me about how we call this house face to face, or
Face me, I face you.
yes. So yeah, I was growing up there, and I loved the fact that I had a big family that was coming from all over the world. Like my first neighbor was from Ghana, and another one from Togo, and I love that. I mean, to me, these people were my family, and I didn't. To me, in my mind, it was not like we couldn't afford a bigger house, so we were living there, but I just enjoyed it. I'm someone who is very optimistic. I'm happy about just being alive, and so I would just go on and live my life. But then growing up, sometimes, even as a kid or growing up, you feel sometimes like doors are closed to you. Like whatever what you can do, there are limits to what you want to do. And so I was working as a professional, and I even have my career goals and stuff. And I felt like I was in a box, limited by so many things. And I wanted to remind myself. So that's how my cycling, traveling started. I wanted to remind myself that we are limitless. As human beings, there is nothing that we cannot achieve. So I
Mm.
decided one morning that I would cycle from Cote d'Ivoire to Ghana. So that was Abidjan to Accra. It was a
Mm.
6 days trip, a 600 kilometers that I did. And that's how everything started, like this fire in me to say, okay, I want to remind my fellow young people that this Africa we are dreaming about, we can make it happen.
Mm.
We have the capabilities in us to to reach our dreams, to reach our goals, to achieve what we dream about. So this is what is heavy in me. So I started. I did a second trip, Cote d'Ivoire to Senegal, and I was raising, as you mentioned very well. I raised funds to buy bicycles for girls, and especially girls, but also boys who walk long distances to go to school. Because
Mm.
to me, I think the developments that we want to have, education has a very big role in it. And we know how sometimes being from an privileged background, the fact of uh, walking very long distance, parents can choose to make their kids drop out from school just because of the distance. Because I mean, it's sometimes more tiring than helping, because if you need to walk 10 kilometers to go to school, so 20 kilometers per day to go to school, at what time do you come and help the family? We know our culture. You need to help a little, then you need to study. I mean, at what time do you have to do all of this and be effective in school? So to me, this was my part. I mean, to contribute in this and raising awareness to the importance of access to quality education to everyone, but having the means to do that. Like, how do we get more infrastructure to make it happen? So that's my way to do that. And on the way, on my trips, I organize events to talk to young people, reminding them that there is nothing that is impossible. Like, as a girl, so I'm the first Ivorian, and actually probably the first sub-Saharan African woman to make such trips on the African roads here, because we don't have how do we lane cycling lanes on our roads. So yes, it's
So how
dangerous,
do you
but
deal
I
with the
also
risk? Because a lot of people are asking, how do you deal with the risk?
yeah
And for audiences, if you would like to ask this lady a question, just call us up on 0818 because what she's now doing now is she wants to cycle from Ivory Coast to South Africa,
yes
and she'll pass through
exactly
Nigeria, and she also wants
yes
Nigerians, if you are there, to host her. Maybe she's going to cycle through your city. She's going to be cycling through my village, Odogbolu. We will be hosting her by the grace of God. You know, they are the Oseni Center Library. Then, if she's coming through your city, you'll host her. She'll give you an email address. We'll, put out message out there. But if you want to call her and ask her one or two questions about this Ivorian lady that wants to cycle from Ivory Coast through Nigeria to Cameroon all the way to South Africa. You're going to tell us your route. But before I start to take the calls, one
yeah
message came in, says Timothy from Kaduna says, I called last Sunday. From that call, I got a design gig. I still want to sell myself. I'm a developer of over 5 years. I'm also a professional graphic designer and digital marketer. 0913 408 3500. Whoa. He called last week, and from this show, he got a job. He's a design artist and a
wow
website developer. So that's the kind of opportunity Timothy from Kaduna, from this show,
wow
he got a job. You can see the power of impact we make on this platform to give people opportunities, will help them. So please, if you want to ask our great Yasmin, you know, Diawara, a question about her trip, 0818 099 1991. 0818 099 1991. So please tell us, is it not risky? What encounters have you, you know, faced? Then what will also be, you know, a place where people can reach you, they can support you, donate money to you, the cities you will go through in Nigeria, and your route to getting to South Africa, from Ivory Coast.
okay okay. So I'll start with the risk. So yeah, it is risky, but how it all started, I mean, in my mind, I thought, well, I see a lot of people doing it. I mean, most of them, almost all of them are Europeans, a lot of Belgium, a lot of German. I actually met two of them yesterday here in Abidjan, like randomly. But just to say
Okay,
that a lot of people are
Jasmine,
doing
just wait a
it.
bit. I've got a caller.
Yeah.
Hello, how are you?
Okay.
Hello, how are you? Please, can you speak up? Can you speak up? Okay, we lost that. Go ahead, Jasmine, please. Yasmin.
Okay. So I told myself, well, if other human beings are doing it, so it means that there are ways, and it means that it's possible. And so I started praying about that. Like literally, I'm a Christian. I mean, I have my faith in God, and I started praying to say, God, please tell me, I mean, if it's something that I have to do, give me signs and give me confirmation before I jump into that. So, I mean, I do it thinking that
Okay, Yasmin, let's
I'm
see if this call is
protected.
going to come in.
And
Hello, how are you?
okay,
Morning, what's your name? Where are you calling us from?
Okay, my name is Uchi. I'm coming from Anambra.
Okay,
Anambra State.
you want to talk to the lady that is cycling from Ivory Coast to South Africa?
Yes, yes. I have a question for her.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I've been listening to you. First of all, I want to commend you for your good work. You know,
Yeah.
in fact, because of you, I am my family. In fact, everybody I know, it is because of you that we listen and we watch Arise TV.
God bless you.
You
Thank
know,
you.
I love your boldness. I love the way you ask those greedy and wicked politicians questions. not minding the way they react about it. I say, my God will continue to provide and protect you.
Amen. So you want to ask Yasmin a question, yeah?
My question to her is, because I know riding a bicycle, I know the risks involved. But
Yes.
I'm now here, imagine, what if in a situation whereby maybe why she was on, should I call it a tour, why on the tour and she develops a sickness or illness, or maybe there is no health center close to her or no health center around her. What will she do? How will she, I'm just imagining. Or
Okay.
is she going with a doctor that is also riding with her too?
Okay. Thank you so much for that question, my brother. Thank you. So Yasmin, they say, what if you get sick and you don't have healthcare center? What happens to you? You know?
Yeah. Well, so if I'm in a situation where I feel sick, then I can take a car. We have we have cultures in Africa that it's very rich of welcoming. So actually, when you tell that to people, they are not sure about that because we are in big cities and we are now afraid of everyone. Because we know the risk of everything, theft and stuff like that. We forget how it works. Even in villages now, people are more welcoming in villages than in big towns. So you always have someone you can rely on. This is something I've experienced. So now I've rode my bicycle like to Senegal, crossing Guinea, Gambia, and Senegal. And I've noticed, and also the other way to Accra. And I've noticed how when we call about hospitality, when we talk about the welcoming that we have in Africa, it is not theory. It still exists. We forget about that when we live in big cities. So if I'm in a town or a village and I feel that I'm getting sick, I can take a car. Like I will not be stubborn and feel like I am a superhero, whatever. No, I'll take a car and reach a bigger town where I can be taken care of. And as for the risk of accident and risk of so for the risk of accident, for example, when you are in on roads within cities, there are less traffic, so this feels a little bit safe. Like for example, you can pass a town where you will see a car that is loading. So by the time you will see you on the road, I mean, he's aware that okay, someone was probably on a bicycle. So people see you, and you try to be. I try to make to be seen like with this security. How do we call it? These green stuff that we wear when you are on working sites on construction sites and stuff.
Okay. So transparent, reflective jackets.
Yes, yeah, I try to wear reflective jacket,
Okay.
and I also try to talk to people when I'm like if I see if I see behind me, because I have a mirror, rear mirror, on the side of my bike. So if I see that a truck is coming, I'll wave my hands so that he sees me. And sometimes they answer with bumping, like they will horn, boom. So it means they saw me. So I do that so that they don't feel disrespected or they feel friendly. You know what I'm talking. You see what
Okay.
I'm talking about, right?
Okay. So tell
So
us
yeah,
about your roots, and the cities,
yes,
that you would need help that you will go through in Nigeria. And then we have offered our place for you, Dogbolu, and how you are going to
yeah,
ride from Ivory Coast to South Africa. Tell us about your journey plan and the cities you will need people in Nigeria, because this show is going around every city in Nigeria as far as I just
yes.
got a call from Anambra.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I hope I'll get some very warm feedback. So thank you again, Rufai. So when I leave Cote d'Ivoire, I will go into Ghana and then Togo, Benin, and Nigeria. And after Nigeria, it's gonna be Cameroon, Congo. I think I'll pass. I will leave Guinea, Equatorial Guinea, and Gabon. So I'll go straight in Congo, Brazzaville, and they have there is a boat I heard to reach Angola, and then after Congo, Brazzaville, and Angola, I reach Namibia. Namibia is going to be the last country before South Africa. So talking like that, it seems easy, but it's going to be eight
Okay, so
thousand kilometers.
after Angola, you reach Namibia, right?
Yeah, and then after Namibia, it's South Africa.
Okay, so the
So
cities you go through in Nigeria, you'll
in
come in.
Nigeria. So I have not yet changed. So we talked the other day about Odogolu. So
Yeah.
when I will from Cotonou, I'll go to Isalu and then reach Lagos. Then from Lagos, I'll go to Odogolu, and then I need to change my route. But the route that I had is that I would have gone to Omotosho, and then from Omotosho to Okopon, Okopon to Benin City, from Benin City to Wari, then from Wari to Patani, Patani to Awada, then
Aoda.
Awada to Port.
Okay. Okay. So you have to go
Yes.
through Benin, Wari, Patani, then Aoda, and all of that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
and Port.
Okay. And Podaka. Good, Jasmine. So Nigerians out there, please also give you details about her trip once she gets on the Nigerian soil. Uh, so we'll also give you details about the trip, and once she gets on the Nigerian soil, and what happens once she gets on the Nigerian soil, we'll get details out as much as possible. All right. So, how can we now talk about the charity parts?
Okay. Okay. So for now, if people want to reach out, so the email we can reach out to with question is cycling to empower. So it's as simple as that, cycling to empower at gmail.com.
Can you spell it fully? Cycling to empower at gmail.com.
Yes, cycling to empower. So CYCLINGTO and EMPOWER at gmail.com.
So that's cycling to empower at gmail.com.
Yes, at
Okay.
gmail.com.
Okay.
So yeah,
Cycling to empower at gmail.com. So you can send her a mail there to share your message of support if you want to give her money and donate to a charity where she cycles from West Africa to South Africa. That's Ivory Coast to South Africa. And if you want to host her, if she's in your city, send her that message. And we want genuinely good people alone, please. We don't want any bad people, only good people. So yeah.
yes. Yeah, so that's it. We had a GoFundMe link for the fund leverage, but we having issue with the link and trying to create a different one. So I will also keep you updated as soon as we have it working, and so that people can easily donate. And yeah.
Okay. So cycling to empower at gmail.com. Thank you so much, Yasmin. I don't have to drag you into this impromptu interview, but definitely we'll keep up with your progress. Thank you so much. And good work you're doing all over Africa. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so
God
much.
bless you.
God bless you.
So much. Thank
Thank,
you,
thank you.
everyone. Have a very good weekend.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, I'll tell you Yasmin's story. I met her through a friend in Ivory Coast. He runs a restaurant called Bushman Cafe. And he says, oh, there's this lady we are supporting. She's cycling all over Africa. And I said, you know what? We'll support her too. And that's how we're giving all the support. As long as she's African, she's a human being first. That's all we're concerned about. So this is impact. And that's what we're doing here. We'll take one or two calls. 0818 099 You can still call me up as we start to wrap things up on the show today. 0818 0818 Hello, how are you? Morning, what's your name?
Okay, sir, I was the guy that called you before.
Okay, you come from Anambra. So
I couldn't hear the last part of what you were saying because of network.
Oh, so is okay. Cycling to empower at gmail.com. That's our email address. Cycling to empower at gmail.com. Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, what's your name? Where are you calling
Hello?
from?
Hello? Is this Rufai
Yeah, this
Oseni?
is Rufai. What's your name?
Thank God I finally speak to you.
Good,
I'm
good to talk to you,
busy.
my brother. How are you?
I'm fine. You are like a god. I've been trying all this while to
It
speak
is
to
well,
you.
my brother. Bless you so much.
Really?
Bless
Yeah,
you.
I'm fine though. I am busy. AKA I need to fair.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Animal Government of Rivers State.
Ah, that's good, my brother. You heard about that great lady cycling from Ivory Coast to South Africa? Powerful story.
I didn't hear you good.
Did you hear about the lady we just interviewed that's going to be cycling from Ivory Coast to South Africa?
Oh, yeah, yeah, I heard it.
Good, good story. Good story.
I want us to like get a camera that will always dictate wherever she is at the moment. Let there be camera following her so that we
Yeah,
can
I
follow
mean,
her.
if you want to give us some advice on that, why not? And if not, you can send her a message cycling to empower at gmail.com. All right.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
So we can get her. And
So
she even needs to get cameras that she needs to film and keep us posted as she travels. So we need to also help support her on the YouTube channel and all of that, you know.
okay. And then finally, please, there's this people like snake and they still believe in it. That
What? Say that again.
like there's this statement I want us to change that Nigeria is the giant of we are no longer giant of this EPC came on board. We are no longer giant of
No,
Africa.
potentially
Let's
we're
have
still the giant. We'll get that status back. We just need to work at it. And we just need to call out
okay.
bad politicians and bad leaders. You know, that's just it. We need to call out the bad systems. It's just the bad systems ruin Nigeria. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, good morning. Please, you just you can refer to me.
Yes, but your phone line is very bad. I can't hear you well.
Okay. I said is it Mr. Rufai Oseni I'm talking to?
Yes, but your phone line is bad. I'll cut you off soon.
This man,
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, I'll cut you off soon. Hello, how are you? Hello?
hello.
The, f- the phone line is bad. I'll cut you off. It's holding back a lot of noise. So, cycling to empower at gmail.com. That's where you should send the message to Yasmin. Very inspiring story. We just saw her and said, you know what, we must support this. These are things we're passionate about. We must support this. Hello, how are you? Hello? Yes?
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Hello? Hi. Good
Ye-
morning.
Morning, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Lobi. You're calling from Lagos.
Good to have you. Talk to me, my brother.
Yeah. Please, regarding the lady that's cycling from Ivory Coast to South Africa.
Yeah.
Now, coming to Nigeria, what are the security issues in place for her? You know how Nigeria is.
At least, I mean, when she gets into Nigeria, if she's in any distress, we can always trigger information out to the security agencies. That's what we have planned for her. As regards what will happen when she comes to Nigeria, I mean, I've given her media. Maybe when she's in Nigeria, we can also give her media for as much as possible. Just help. I don't know what you fans are looking at. We can plan a little get together for her to feel her make her feel welcomed and loved while she goes through. And also with the charity she's raising money for to be able to buy other bicycles for children that are poor in poor communities across Africa is something that we can also donate to her for. So it's at cycling for empower to empower at gmail.com. So, we can just only do our best for her.
No problem. I'm interested in whatever she's doing. But my problem is the situation in Nigeria and our security. That is why whenever she's around, I will call back.
No problem, no problem, son. So when she's around, she should go. She's still going back to plan her journey, but she will set out from like the ending of May Then maybe June-ish, she should be entering into Nigeria because she'll set up from Abidjan from like the ending of May. But I'm still, going to follow up with her as much as possible and give her all the support. Hello, how are you?
Good morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got the number from the live stream on Instagram.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's your name?
Yeah, my name is Felix.
Speak up a little louder. This bedroom voice is not going to work. Oh.
I said my name is Felix.
Where are you calling from?
I'm coming from Agbado.
Okay.
Yeah. So you talked about
Where are you listening to us on? Are you listening to us on the radio?
no on Instagram.
On Instagram. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that you talked so about the business idea and everything. So
Yeah.
I
What's your
started
business idea? If you have any, let us know.
yeah. I've already started. I just started into
Okay.
into I wear catfish. I wear catfish.
So you want to sell your catfish? So you're looking for buyers.
Yeah, not yet. Though. Maybe from next month now. I'll be sell them.
I give her your number so that in case from next month, if they have somebody that want to pick up catfish, you never know. Oh yeah.
Okay. I think I'll have to call back for that. I use the new line. I don't know it also.
Okay, it's all right. When you're ready, you call back for that. So he sells, he has catfish and all of that. So 0818 099 1991. I'm going to be playing an interview for another 1 hour, the second segment of the show. But I'm happy today we got the interview with Yasmin out of the way. Hello, how are you?
Hello.
Great to have you.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Mr. Anthony Anumba. I'm calling from Lagos, sir.
Where in Lagos? Lagos is quite very big. Where in Lagos?
Hello, sir.
Where in Lagos are you calling from?
Okay, I'm calling from White Town, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm calling from White Town, sir.
Go ahead.
Sir, please. I'm a family with 4 children. I'm a microbiologist by profession. I lost my job last year when the company shut down.
What were you doing before? Where were you working before?
I was working at a quality control. I was working at a quality control in Terminal Hajinka.
In where?
The company shut down last year, sir.
Where were you working? Which company was that?
Terminal Hajinka. We
Okay.
manufacture sanitary pads.
Okay, now so you want a new job, right? You want a new job now.
Yes, I need a
Your
job.
phone line is bad, though. Please, I will cut you off. Oh. Your phone line is bad. Turn off everything on the background.
Hello? Hello?
Turn off everything in the background. I'll cut you off now. Your phone line is bad. Turn off everything on the background. You see what I say? Because if you don't turn off things in the background, you will not be able to. That's how you couldn't get your name across. At least you'll have given your number out. Please learn to turn off everything before you call the phone lines. Please. Hello? Please, before you call the phone, that's why I always sound that note of warning. Turn off everything. Look at it. You never know. Somebody might have been interested in giving him a job. But because his radio was so loud and everything, he couldn't give out his number. Please, turn off everything before you call us up. Hello?
Hello?
Great to have you.
Good morning, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Emmanuel Shoas. I'm calling from Karo, Nasarawa State.
Good to have you, Emmanuel. Go ahead.
Okay. I really need a job because our factory just shut down.
Which factory are you working before?
Pandemic Global Limited.
Okay.
They deal on fee. So I'm a maintenance planner and procurement specialist where I work in there for about 5 years.
Okay, so you need a job now. Give out your number. What can you do?
Okay, I can do maintenance planning and procurement.
Okay.
Technical procurement.
Okay, so give us your number.
Okay, 090
Yeah.
76
Yeah.
81
Yeah.
6320.
Yeah. Call it
Thank
again. Call it again.
090
Yeah.
76
Yeah.
81
Yeah.
6320.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'm grateful. So we pray as you go this week, God will be with you. He'll bless you. He'll make his face and favor shine over you, give you peace on every side. And that's the peace of God that passes the understanding of man. It is well with you. We'll keep this segment on because we need to get a lot of people in jobs and keep creating opportunities as much as possible for tons of people listening to us across all of our platforms. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you more than words can tell. Bless you guys so much. But please, before you call us up, please endeavor to turn off the volume of your radio set. Please turn it off. It's really important. How you doing today? Thank you so much. Bless you. What's your name and where you from? Bless you so much.
Thank you.
Yep.
It's nice. Thank you very much. When you had that declaration of the state of emergency, in Rivers State, was very much. When you had that declaration of the state of emergency in Rivers State, was there anything nostalgic about it?
Well, when I had the proclamation, it's only natural that my mind will go back to October 2006. And a lot of things ran through my mind. And the first thing I was considering was the ability of Mr. President to get the National Assembly to agree to the proclamation. It had to be done within 48 hours. Interestingly, I was in Abuja when the proclamation was made. I had just driven into Abuja when I had the proclamation, so I knew that the next 48 hours, that is from Tuesday to Thursday, evening was going to be quite dramatic in Abuja. But I was in Abuja.
Interesting. And well, it appeared almost easy for the president to get that proclamation approved by the National Assembly. But let's go back in time, because this one has brought in a lot of memories. Some who were not so familiar with history started drawing comparisons with what happened in Ekiti State, even though we know it was slightly different, and that's why we want to bring it all back. The general story is that former Governor Ayafashi was removed during his first term because of certain corruption allegations, one that had to do with a poultry project handled by one of his friends. But this is roughly a couple of years after. We want the real story. What exactly did former Governor Ayafashi do at the time that enraged a lot of political figures in the state?
Well, this is it was an interesting time, and interestingly, in the last 2 months or thereabouts, one of the people who, yes, was involved in the thing was on here claiming all sort of imaginary heroism in the course of the impeachment of Fayose. But like I told some people, some people who were deeply involved in the matter, a lot of them got back to me and they were asking me, are we losing our memories? Is this what really happened? And I just laughed and told them, look, that man is just having fun. Let him have his fun. But we know what happened, and we know those who did what. Let facts be put out. Anybody can say what he likes, but the House of Assembly then, that I was a member of, had very legitimate reasons to impeach then Governor Fayose. No stories about it. We had issues of corruption against him. We had issues of moral uprightness against him. And the interesting thing is that Section 188 of the Constitution that allows for the impeachment of a governor and or his deputy is so fluid that anything at all can be imputed to be an impeachable offense. And one was the case of some deputy governor who was impeached, is it in Cross River State or so? He was impeached for having slapped somebody
even before he became deputy governor. So such sublime and little misdemeanors can actually fit into the description of wrongdoing that is impeachable. And yes, you had issues of corruption against Governor Rufai Oseni. I think he's still in court about the particular issue. So his impeachment was not induced by anybody for any reason other than what we in the House of Assembly saw. But of course, it is
to you in the House of Assembly. Because we have had stories. Some say that he did not give any regard to the House of Assembly.
That is a fact. That was a fact. Yes, that was a fact. But the truth of the matter was, we had an issue, and it was an established fact that he had committed some corrupt practices, and we laid it out in the notice of impeachment to him. And his response to it did not justify our issues with him. So a panel had to be set, and the rest, as they say, is history. But it was not because somebody felt he had to go or anything. But of course, other people came in, other people who had other ulterior motives other than we wanting him to leave because he was corrupt, came in. There was a lot of games. We played games, they played games, everybody had games to play. But the truth of the matter was, we impeached him on the ground of the corrupt practice he had engaged in.
Was it just the poultry project, or was the poultry project just one out of many?
The poultry project was just one out of many, but you only need one. You don't need 1,000 reasons. You only need one. Just one misdemeanor. That's all you need. That's all the Constitution requires.
Let's then go on to the people who seem to have come in. You said this was simply an action undertaken by the State House of Assembly, but there are those who have also talked about the role of former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Did former President Olusegun Obasanjo come into the mix after the Assembly had initiated that process?
Yes, the Assembly had initiated the process. Don't forget, the President has security reports every 24 hours, so he knew we were going to impeach him, and he knew the reasons why we were going to impeach him, and he did not object. If he objected, all that needs to be done is just get the whole place cordoned off, and we probably wouldn't have been able to do it. But the truth is, he knew and he had no objections to it because he saw reason in what we were about to do.
What was Governor Fajo's reaction at the time, the moment he filed an impeachment notice against him?
We filed a notice against him. His response to the notice was taciturn, and we had a sitting, and we sent a notice to the then chief judge to set up a panel to try him. But it is a fact that the then chief judge set up a panel that was, if not directly dictated by the then governor, was so partial to him that there was no way that panel would have seen anything wrong done by him. One of the panelists, I remember, was an uncle to his wife. And we protested to the chief judge that no, at least you should set a panel of people who can be fair in their judgment. And that became another issue entirely. That is another story for another day. But at least I think I know everything that happened at that time.
Well, we want a bit of the stories, yeah. Prince, was telling us some of the stories that transpired.
Yes, the then chief judge, having set up a panel that was very unfair in the issue, he set up a biased panel. The House of Assembly sat against him, and we suspended him and had an acting CJ in place who now set up a panel that, in all opinions, was fair. And the panel returned a verdict of guilt against the governor, and we impeached him.
Before that impeachment happened, the members of the House of Assembly did not feel safe. Some of you had to flee for your lives.
Not some of us, all of us. And as a matter of fact, even before the impeachment, I left Ado Ekiti with my family in August 2006. It was that bad. I left Ado Ekiti with my family in August 2006 because I did not think it. I knew my life was under threat. And I had a couple of occasions that made it apparent that I was a target for some sinister operations. So I left with my family. So of course, we were not safe. It's not that we felt we were not safe. We were not safe. And it's only an insane person that leaves himself vulnerable when he knows he is indeed not safe. So yes, we left town, but that didn't stop us from doing what we had to do. Because what people don't understand is an assembly is an assemblage of men, and wherever they are, the assembly is safe so long as they have the instruments of office there.
You mentioned an issue around with morality, that as a governor, there were things that he was doing. What were some of those things?
Oh, you see, like I said, the Section 188 is so fluid that a simple altercation between two people is gross misconduct. And yes, one of the issues we had against him as a gross misconduct then was that he was at the airport. Instead of following the normal channel of people queuing and getting to a checkpoint, he actually went under a barbed wire that was meant to barricade the spaces in the airport. And unfortunately, somebody actually had it on camera, and we had it, and we felt that was an embarrassment to governance as a whole, for a whole governor to be passing under barbed wire. For us, it was gross misconduct. And that was why I said a deputy governor was removed for having slapped or insulted somebody before he was elected up to governor.
After he was impeached, he had the deputy governor that was also impeached. Why was she impeached? That's Senator Obiodun Olujimi.
I'll tell you one truth. I'm just a dead honest man. I did not, and I've said that again, I did not find any reasons why we should have impeached that woman. Because the truth was, the offense we actually impeached her over was something that was done even before she was appointed deputy governor. Don't forget, she was not elected deputy governor. She was appointed deputy governor and was certified by the House. Yes. What we impeached her for was something that predated her appointment as deputy governor, but it was how do you put it? It was appropriate for all parties involved at that time to have her impeached, because, like I said, there were other motives and there were other interests for that impeachment other than the interest we, as members of the House, had against the governor. The other interest, I think, was weakening the PDP then. So it became convenient to remove the governor and remove our deputy, so that the party they represented would be weakened beyond normal at that point in time. And that is a fact.
I'd like to get that clear again. The decision was to ensure that the PDP would be weakened at the time. Is it the PDP or the interest that both Rufai Oseni and his deputy represented within the PDP?
Maybe that's a clearer way to put it.
Oh, the interest that they represented within the PDP.
Yes, maybe that's a clearer way to put it.
Did this have anything to do with a certain third-term agenda?
No.
I mean, this interest?
No, okay. Not at all. The third term agenda by then was dead. It was dead. The third term agenda was killed by then. No, Fayose had no problems with the third term agenda. Don't let's implicate somebody for what he did not do. He had no problems with it. He took the whole delegation of Ekiti delegates to Osho, where we all ratified the third term agenda for President Obasanjo. The third term agenda was truncated in the National Assembly. So it had nothing to do with the Ekiti imbroglio. None at all. None.
But just for clarity's sake, was it the deputy governor, Senator Biodo Olujimi, was our offense slapping somebody? Because you've referenced that. I'd like to know if that was the offense.
Excuse me. I did mention who was impeached for slapping somebody. It was a deputy governor in the South, I think in Cross River State or thereabout. Okay. So it had nothing to do with Mrs. Olujimi.
In this case, what was Senator Olujimi's case? I've tried to search through the web. I can't really find it.
Yes, she was alleged to have been a conduit for some money between a then contractor of Ekiti and the then governor, Rufai Oseni.
And then you have the late Friday Aderemi, who eventually took office.
Yes.
Do you think that was his own personal interest too? That, let me rally my colleagues so that we can chase out the...
Let us put facts straight. Friday Aderemi is dead.
Yes.
I would not lie against a living man not to talk about a dead man. Yes, he had his own interest, and anybody would under that circumstance. Anybody would if he actually saw he could become governor. And he was given some assurances beyond that point. So, of course, he felt good about it. Some of us didn't, but there was a common interest. And that common interest was the impeachment of Governor Rufai Oseni, the impeachment of the deputy governor, Senator Biodo Olujimi, was an albatross. And eventually, it was what actually led to the declaration of the state of emergency.
Yeah. Interesting. And then, he had to leave, and you had former Army chief.
Yes, General Oluri.
What did it feel like at that moment, 2006 to 2007? Those 6 months, what did it feel like having somebody, a complete stranger, come and take total and absolute control?
Well,
I'm also curious, at the time, what were the limits of the operations of the House of Assembly?
The House of Assembly had no operations at all. The House of Assembly was suspended, just like the governor was suspended. And the federal government are taking over our government here, so there was nothing for anybody to feel about it. Yes, Oluri came and he was administrator.
I'm also curious as to, were you being paid for that period of the 6 months when, you're on the...
This is the very interesting part of it. We were not paid a dime. We were not even greeted. But the irony of it was, all the people who were around us when it was all happening, they left us to our fate. They abandoned us. That is the right word. They abandoned us. And these were people who actually knew that at a point in time, the state of emergency will be declared. None of us that was involved did not know that the state of emergency was an option on the table of Mr. President. We all knew. It was obvious. The man was bold enough to tell us, kind enough to tell us. But when interests, that's the problem. When interests clash, sometimes even the impossible gets done. Because there was a clash of interest, some of us happily went into it, some of us grudgingly because we were looking at a bigger picture. But I do remember that one of those people, we were all involved together, including all National Assembly members of Ekiti State then, told me personally, as a friend, that look, or am I worried, even if the worst comes to the worst, we will not leave you people. We will rally around you. We will take care of it. But I'm saying it now, that not one of them remember to give any of us a penny for those 6 months.
Interesting.
But you want to know the interesting thing? The interesting thing was that, horrible as some of us then felt Rufai Oseni was, he was actually reaching some of us he believed were his friends, that he believed were just coerced into going along with us, and he was giving them some money every month.
Wow.
I say that for him. Of course, we are not friends, so, but I'm not the kind of person who will lie against anybody. When the chips are down, the man was giving some of us money every month after our suspension.
That's interesting. That's I'm not sure that's a side any other person has had in a very long time.
No, nobody would say he has said it, because the people who were giving money were not telling us that we're not getting. But we got to know after that he was actually giving them money, and I respected him for that fact. That even after we impeached him, he was doing good to those of us he felt were his friend. I did not feel bad that he did not give me money. I did not deserve money from him. It is okay by me. But at least he was taking care of the interest of some people. Other people who were involved, who should have taken care of the interest of those of us who were outstandingly against him, just abandoned us to our fate.
That's interesting. Eventually, Tunjo Louis left, and then you became acting governor. I'm curious, were you able to then get all the funds from that 6 months paid to the lawmakers?
That would have been a crime, and I don't do anything that is criminal. I'm a chartered accountant.
So
I'm
6 months,
an intelligent
that
person.
6 months you've not received since then.
Why would you receive money when you are not working? We were on suspension. We knew the risk we were bearing, and we bore it happily. So, the 6 months was dead and gone. We did not get paid. Rufai Oseni and Bedwolu Jimmy did not get paid. Nothing lost. We were all on the on the poor side of it.
What were the intrigues that produced you then as speaker?
There was no interest. It was simply providence.
Let's have the backstory. Let's have the backstory.
These are the facts as they were. We actually pronounced Friday Aderemi executive governor of Ekiti, and he took office. The next day, a Wednesday, no, the next day, a Tuesday, we conducted an election in the House of Assembly for the office of Speaker, office of Deputy Speaker, office of Majority Leader, and every single office, because we dissolved all principal officers when Friday Aderemi was leaving, when we were going to proclaim him as the governor of the state. So we had a fresh election for every office on Tuesday. On Wednesday, on the floor of the House, I was officially elected Speaker. My deputy then was officially elected Deputy Speaker, and all the principal officers were elected. So as at that point, I'd become the Speaker of the House. I presided over the House. As a matter of fact, I remember that the then Assembly Governor had proclaimed, I sent the name of his proposed Attorney General to the House, which I read to the House. And I jokingly told them that day that, please, we must expedite action on this candidate of the governor because he is my cousin. So I presided over the house, and that was gone. The next morning, on Thursday, while I was dressing up to go to the office, I received a call from one of the people who was heavily involved in the matter, and he just told me, see, Mr. Speaker, Mr. President wants to declare a state of emergency. You people should go and start protesting now. Start protesting heavily in Ekiti. And I just told him, all right, sir. And I laughed. I laughed because at that time, I had 2 children, and I had one in incubation. And I just thought, why would this man send me this kind of message? This is what Yoruba call Ishe Beri Beri now. You ask me to go and protest when the president is already clear about his intention to declare a state of emergency. Something we all knew he was going to do if something happened. No, I'm not suicidal. I just laughed and I just sat down waiting for the proclamation, and it came in the afternoon. So I was not surprised, and truth be told, none of us was surprised because we knew it was going to happen. If anybody said it came as a surprise in Ekiti, it was the people, not those of us who were involved in the matter.
Did you think that the president at the time was going to suspend the House of Assembly?
Of course, we knew he would suspend everything. We knew it. We knew it. That is the truth. We knew it.
So there is a likelihood that when you look at what is at play in Rivers State, almost all the major actors may have known a few days before that the president was going to declare a state of emergency.
I do not think so. You see, the issue in Rivers State is different from the issue in Ekiti. We had impeached a governor in Ekiti. We now had a problem because we had 2 people purporting to be governors. The impeached deputy governor then, Senator Abiodun Olujimi, was entrenched in government house, proclaiming herself as the governor. The one we had appointed has access to the governor's office. He too was proclaiming himself as governor. That was all that the then president leveraged on to declare the state of emergency. Nothing more. That yes, we had 2 governors in Ekiti. It was not like one person slapped the other on the streets of Ekiti now. Nothing happened. Nothing untoward happened. People were going about their normal businesses. But we had 2 people contending to be governors in Ekiti. That was why the state of emergency was declared. But in the case of Rivers State, yes, there had been an impeachment notice to the suspended governor, but this is the truth of the matter. The suspended governor was, how do you put it now? He was too aggressive in his speeches. It was too ungovernor-like. When openly he was telling people how don't be perturbed. I'm not bothered. My people, when it's time, I'll give you instructions. Instructions to do what? Instructions to do exactly what? You see, anybody holding high office, the office of a governor, the office of a president, must be circumspect in his speech. His speeches were obviously too hostile against even the federal government. And call it coincidence, call it happenstance, call it whatever name you want. The situation occurred that he said one day that we will give instructions, and some people on his behalf were already threatening, will blow the pipelines, will destroy all infrastructures there. Unfortunately, while he said, I'll give instructions one day, that night or the next day, pipeline started blowing. For God's own sake, The economy of the world right now is comatose. And Nigeria is just struggling to get out of a multiple set of issues that it necessarily got into. We are talking about removal of subsidy on fuel. We are talking about removal of apparent subsidy on foreign currencies. So every bit of money that comes into Nigeria now is of high value. And the truth is, in the last 1 year, the revenue that has been accruing to the federation account has been humongous. The source has never happened before. So governments are now able to do a lot of things for the people. You can't hear any story of salary being owed any worker in Nigeria now. You can't hear stories of contractors not getting paid. That is why they did not do a contract. And a good part of this money is coming from the oil wells. And we even have situation where a good part of the oil that we are mining there has been sold before now, cash collected. So the people who bought the oil have an assurance that they will get it delivered. Now, if some people, for whatever reason, start blowing the pipelines and we cannot deliver even oil that has been sold maybe 2-3 years back, what happens? Somebody goes to court against Nigeria, will start paying damages for something that is not natural, something that we very well could have prevented. It's all those things I think Mr. President put together. And for God's sake, let anybody say what he likes. But it is a fact that for over 1 year now, the River State has had no legislation. And that is not how democracy is supposed to act. So, in the best interest of even the people of River State, the president declared the emergency. I think the intervening time will give all the parties enough breathing space to sit back retrospectively and consider what they had done, what they could have done, and what they will do. Because what they will do is actually the more important thing now. After 6 months, the emergency is up for review. It will either be renewed or be lifted. It will be renewed if there is untraceable recalcitrance in the place, if there is pandemonium and trouble. And it will be lifted if the place is considered calm and it is looking like the people can now sit down and talk like brothers that they are and resolve their issues. So I think the emergency for this one time is actually a better option than what could have resulted. Because what would have happened in River State, truth be told, the governor and his deputy would have been impeached. The speaker would have been appointed acting governor. Only God knows what would have happened in the intervening period. But now, everything has been put on a back burner. It will simmer down. People will now have time to jojo instead of the war they have had before now. And hopefully, within the next 6 months, they will be able to resolve a lot of their issues and be able to work together for the good of their people.
So you think that the president has provided room for negotiation rather than allowing Fubara and his deputy to lose out completely?
Look at it this way. If they had gone on the trajectory they were on, truth be told, Fubara will be impeached. His deputy will be impeached because they have a lot of impeachable offenses against them. Operating a budget without appropriation is the height of impeachable offenses. And it apparently has happened. But Fubara would have supporters. They will start trouble. The other people will have supporters. When the chips are down, it's River State that will suffer, it is Nigeria that will suffer, and it is Nigerians that will get killed in the imbroglio. It's not likely somebody will succeed in killing Fubara or the speaker. No, but some boys, some woman, stray, some child somewhere probably sleeping in his mother or father's house could have been hit by a bullet and killed. So I think it was the lesser of two devils to have a state of emergency where everybody, all powers have been cut from everybody now. So there's no grandstanding in River State now. If there were no state of emergency, there would be grandstanding. We would have been hearing so much drama, would have been seeing so much drama. But right now, there's no grandstanding, nothing.
Do you think Fubara would come back after 6 months?
Well, I am hoping Fubara will seriously and now understand that, like the Hausas will say, Keremin Goro, Yafi Babanduse, that a small piece of kola nut is better than a huge rock. I think now that he knows that if he's taken out of the system, heavens will not fall. Nigeria will not stop being Nigerian. Being Nigeria. I think yes, he should be intelligent enough to give this a chance so they can talk. He obviously has the hot start against him. His governor and his deputy and the House of Assembly are on another side, and they have the power to remove him. He does not have the power to remove them. So I think this thing will prevail, and they will come to some kind of agreement. I am believing so.
Do you think his estranged godfather, the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, will be willing to even sit and negotiate and see reason why maybe they should allow him stay?
Let us say it fast. Wike can be tough, but he is a human being. But the truth of the matter is this. There is nobody who would attain high office without some backing from some people. OBJ did not make himself president. It was the Babangidas of this world who made him president. But of course, he became president and made it impossible for those ones to have a stake at anything. Yaradua would not have been president. I know a couple of aspirants at that time who would have won the PDP primaries hands down. In fact, there was a particular one that we were all waiting for because he came with, oh my God, he came with so much money. But it was not even.
He came with so much money to the primaries.
Yes, quote me.
A former governor.
I don't know, but there was an aspirant that was going to spend a lot of money. And politicians are money 5 and 6 now.
So the vote buying didn't start in 2022.
Forget the story. It has always been a part of it. Vote buying at delegate primary. Why do you think they are called delegates? My brother, let's be frank now. The truth was, Obasanjo ensured that Yaradua became president. Obasanjo ensured that Jonathan became president. Even before the people in the South were thinking of Jonathan become president, Obasanjo gathered the PDP members in the Southwest who were in Ibadan now. And we all agreed that, yes, Jonathan will be the next president. That was the first time Our Excellency Senator Abedul Olujimi called Baba the Ebola of Africa. We used to call him Ebola, but that was the day she called him the Ebola of Africa. I was at that gathering because I'm an automatic delegate to any congress of any party that I am.
Indeed.
Now, you can't become a governor without somebody backing you. And our society is replete with histories of such. Any governor that is leaving office wants somebody he can lean on as the next governor. He wants somebody who will continue where he has stopped. He wants somebody who will not just start making trouble for him and calling him names. So it is not a strange thing. That it happened between Wike and Fubara is not a strange thing. It happens everywhere.
There are those who say that Wike is overbearing, overreaching. They say he appointed almost all the commissioners in...
I do not know. Do you have clear evidence of that?
If that is true, is that overreaching?
Hold on, sir. Do you have clear evidence of that?
No, we do not.
I don't.
When you look
So
at the
it is all in the realm of speculation. But you must weigh this too. You must weigh this. Fubara was a middle ranking civil servant. Which propelled him above his seniors, brought him into government at a high level. Fubara was a civil servant. He was just brought from the civil service to come into. And anyway, maybe it's a lesson for the political class, especially the people in very high office. This idea of just plucking people who do not have a political orientation and putting them in office. Sometimes it will backfire. It would always backfire. But you see, a politician is a politician. He understands the game. Look, even against his own father, Bukola Saraki made Abdul Fattah the governor in Kwara State.
Ahmed, yes.
That was even against his own father's wish that his sister, Bemisola Saraki, become governor. But in 8 years, nobody heard about a squabble for 1 second between Bukola and Abdul Fattah.
Yeah.
You think Bukola would not have asked for some things Abdul Fattah will find outrageous? No. But you see, you must learn to accommodate the man that is giving you a platform to ride on. Yes. Some people can be egregious, they can be impossible, they can be demanding, they can be exasperating. But you would have known them to be such before you agreed to be their person. Call it stooge now if you like. So you can't agree to be bending down in the morning so that you want to climb a horse. And when you now climb the horse, you now say, I don't know how to bend down. No, now. So it does not work like that, though.
In the end, agreement is agreement.
Absolutely. That is the word.
Even at the expense of the people of Rivers State, because that's what some of them are saying, that whatever it is that the godfather...
Listen here. Wike was governor for 8 years in Kwara State, in Rivers State. Was his government to the detriment of the people?
We don't know.
Wike probably worked more than any other governor in Rivers State for Rivers State. So it's not, but of course, everybody would have an excuse for doing whatever he chooses to do. I don't expect Fubara to say Wike is the nicest human being since they now have issues. But he cannot claim not to know Wike, having worked closely with him for a couple of years before he agreed that he will be his governor.
Interesting. But I want a quick lesson from you, which is how not to be a godfather. There are those who say that Wike may fit the expression of how not to be a godfather. Allegedly, they say his demands, the way he talks, some of the things he says. But that's not how to be a political godfather.
You know, human beings, we are of different types. Some people are introverts, others are extroverts. Some people are talkative, some are sober, and even at the extremes, they would not talk. They just act or react. Wike is who he is. You can't change Wike at 50-something years now. He is who he is. So if you want to deal with Wike, you must sit down and consider all the options. Can I take his excesses? Can I take his loudness? Can I accommodate his actions? When you are sure that you are okay with it, then you take whatever he offers. But immediately you think, the kind of person I am, I cannot tolerate being bossed around. I cannot tolerate somebody just passing others over my head. You simply leave him with his problem. Let him find somebody that is liable to his kind of life and system. But you cannot choose to dine with the devil, and you come to the devil with your fingers. You need a shovel so that you just take one scoop from the pot and you can move back before you finish a shovelful. If you are not a glutton, you should be filled now.
Okay, let's talk about Ekiti State, for instance. There is a political dynasty that is shaping out. You have Niyi Adebayo, former governor Kayode Fayemi, acknowledges Niyi Adebayo as a political godfather. In fact, Otumani Adebayo acknowledges, I know he would fondly call him Kayode as his godson, and that has produced Governor Biodo Yebanji. But we've been hearing lately that there's been a lot of back and forth that was not the same situation when you had Governor Kayode Fayemi in power. But let's look at the three of them. Do they in any way fit any example of how political leadership, godfatherism, and god-son relationship should work?
I'm a PDP, I'm an APC member.
Yes.
Well, I used to be a PDP member. I am an APC member.
Mm.
And let me say this. I think God has been kind to us. We have had a retinue of gentlemen in office. People who are not overbearing, people who will not shove their faces down your throat just to show they have been of help to you at one point or the other. And the pleasant thing is, every step along the line, as you have stated, everybody is acknowledging that man who has helped him. Like human beings, yes, there can be disagreements, but we have not had any reasons at any point in time to hear of an implosion between our leaders in the APC. They have been doing very well. They have been very accommodative of each other. They have been relating at a point and level that is pleasant and pleasing to all of us. I would just like to leave it at that.
Leave it at that.
They are Omoluabis. Gentlemen, all of them. Yes, and I'm an Omoluabi too.
Yeah, indeed. It's always a pleasure speaking to Prince Adedoku Adewale, former Speaker of the Ekiti State House of Assembly, former acting governor of Ekiti State. It's a pleasure to be able to review, go back in time, even though I was looking forward to more interesting, it's been interesting, but I mean, to more explicit stories.
If I tell you all the stories, what happens if I choose to write a book tomorrow?
Oh yes, and I think that is something that we would look forward to. I understand that quite a number of figures have written books about the experiences. I'm hoping that you will do so soon, so that we can read. And
I may do so, especially given that a lot of wrong information is being passed to the society about the thing now. But I dare to say that I'm one of the few human beings who knows practically everything that happened around that time.
I think just before I let you take leave now, at the time, you seem to have sounded as if the legislature was completely independent of the executive. That is not something that we see nowadays. We see the state assemblies subjugated under the control of the governor or the executive. It's almost the same thing. You go around and then they say, oh, the National Assembly is rubber stamped. We had it under under Lawan with Buhari, and now they say the same thing about Akpabio's Senate under President Bola Tinubu. Why do you think things have transformed this quickly?
Let us face facts. The executive would always be the executive. The legislature would always be the legislature. But if the two do not agree on most things, government will be crippled. And it so happens that most times, the legislature is almost always in the majority with the party that produces the governor or the president. So they have a common ground. They have the same manifestos to work towards. They have the same ideological principles to work towards. So most times, what the executive is thinking is something the people in the legislature would have known about or would have even been within the master plan of their parties for the government. So if I am a legislator and my governor or my president is bringing to the legislative house something we had agreed upon before that will be done. Okay, this party has this leaning ideologically, and the governor or president is bringing a bill that is in line with that ideological leaning. Why would the legislator go against it? Is it just to be irascible? No. And most times, before issues get on the floor of the house, there would have been meetings, there would have been consultations. People would have known about it beforehand. Do you think people did not know beforehand that this state of emergency will be imposed? You think people did not know beforehand when it was imposed on us in 2006? Let me tell you another story in 2006. Our state of emergency was declared on a Friday. So definitely, the National Assembly must sit on it on Monday. On Friday, we were in Lagos, we had a press conference. And on Sunday, we left Ekiti. No, some of us left Ekiti for Abuja. And our plan was to go to the National Assembly and protest so that the emergency would be opposed and probably thrown out. And we most of us were quartered in Ibro Hotel. But there was one of us who was in-law to the son of a senator. So he went to stay in the house of the son of the senator. No, he was in-law to an head of a senator. So he went to stay in the house of the head of the senator with a friend of his. We were in Ibro Hotel. The members of the National Assembly in Ekiti and the then minister from Ekiti, Professor Borishade, may he to rest in peace like Friday Adelemi. They came to a meeting with us and they were with us till 1 a.m. They came supposedly to take our grievances. Yeah, they will go and speak with Mr. President, blah, 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 and they left. We went to sleep. Around 5 a.m., I had a knock on my door and I just went to the door, opened it, foolishly. I didn't even have school. I just thought it should be one of my colleagues. I just opened the door and two barrel-chested men just accosted me. Are you Adetope Ademri? I said, yes, I'm Adetope Ademri. I'm a Kitman. I don't fear anything. Yes, I'm Adetope Ademri. Said, yes, we are from SSS. We would like to see you. I said, come inside. And they came and they just said, where are your colleagues? I said, if you know where I am, you should know where my colleagues are now. Say, okay, we want to see you in our office. I said, okay, fine. But I need to take my bath and all that and all that. They said, okay. I should go and take my bath. I said, no, you would have to leave. I'm in toilet. I don't bath in front of me. So they left my room. They told me, okay, will you be ready in like 15 minutes? I said, no problem. They left. I took my bath. And by the time I was coming out, I just saw that they had assembled all my colleagues. Wow. They put us in, I think, 2 buses and just drove us to one of their guest houses. They were driving us to their office. At the gate of the office, they just turned back, drove us to one guest house. They went and they collected all our phones. But some of us had more than a phone, so we had about 2 phones we did not give to them. They collected all our phones, and for that day and the next day, they were just bringing food for us from cafeterias. And when they bring you, just say, I hope you are not poisoning the food, though. They say, why would they want to kill us? And we're just eating. After the emergency had been They had Monday, Tuesday. They just came on Wednesday morning and said, gentlemen, let's take you back to your hotel. Nobody said they want us. Nobody had anything to do with us. But it is on record that the National Assembly members and the ministers were with us in Ibro 31 a.m. So they were the ones who knew where we were.
Wow.
So it is not as if people would, when issues like this come up. So that is why it is not reasonable to continue to play legislators and rubber stamps to the executives. There would always be consultation beforehand. In our time, yes, a lot of us were friendly with Governor Fayoshi. I was not one of them. It was not because he had done anything to me personally. I just felt I saw through some of the things and I did not like them. And I'm that kind of person. If I don't like it, and I make it obvious. It's not like I did not want to be his friend. I didn't mind being his friend, but we just didn't get along. And I'm sure, even if he dislikes me, he does not hate me. About that, I'm sure, because I don't hate him either. I just didn't agree with some of the things he does. But that does not mean that I was against him. There were issues the government brought that I was very happy to champion. So it's not like in our days, the government had no friends. In any legislature, government would have some particular friends who will be the high of the government in that particular legislation. You can't rule it out. Yes, the friends will probably have some advantages and benefits that the others do not have. But we must not always expect that every legislation and every government will be at loggerheads. If they are at loggerheads, governance will break down. It will not work. There was a time in Ekiti where the PDP and the APC had 13 members.
Yeah.
Government still went on very well. And that is the pleasure of it. Is it that, are we going to say that the APC members then did not play opposition? But if they wanted to play opposition, would they now crash the government? If they crash the government, is it only the executive that will take the blame? Everybody will take the blame now. So, this idea that one legislation is stamped to one executive is not exactly correct. What we should be thinking about is, do the legislators give adequate consideration to bills and issues that are brought before them by the executive? If they do, why would they disagree with something that is good? If government is coming up with a program that will benefit the people, would the legislator just, for the sake of wanting to play opposition, now say, no, we don't want it? Say, okay, let us provide street lights, solar energy for everybody. We need also so money. So the legislators will say, no, you cannot provide solar lights. It is not how. It does not work. The legislature is supposed to be, how do you put it? If not exactly wives though, then a mistress to the executive. They must relate cordially. There must be mutual respect between them.